Welcome to the Mortgage Podcast, where we give tactics, strategies, and inspiration to get you to 10 plus loans per month. We talk a lot about how to make a ton of money in mortgage while also being happy and thriving in your personal life. If you want to be a mortgage millionaire, you're in the right place. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mortgage Podcast, where we are talking today about the three major changes that's happened in selling mortgage loans. And if you're smart, you'll really pay close attention to this because I have spent thousands of hours on this topic alone. It's been one of the major things that I've spent a lot of my time on so that I can understand it so I can win faster. And I'm giving you the secrets. So let's start with secret number one is loans have been officially commoditized a lot more. So commoditization is very simply when the consumer starts to see your product or service as the same as everyone else's. Let me say that again. Consumers see your product or service as about the same as everyone else's. An example of this is my assistant asked me the other day, do you want to fly on Alaska, Southwest, or American? And I'm like, I don't care. Give me an airplane that gets me there. Okay, that is commoditization. Now, some people are like, hey, only Southwest Airlines. I like that company. I like what they stand for, or they get me there on time, or I've never been stuck, right? So that's the opposite of commoditization. So, but for sure, compared to 10 years ago, a realtor, when a buyer comes to him and says, yeah, I'm using this company. Okay. They're like, they're all about the same. You want to use this company, that company, broker, banker, credit union, I don't really care. Now, sometimes they do, but by and large, loans are much more seen as a commodity than as a special service. That's true of financial planners. It's true of a lot of different industries. So how do you fight that? You have to appear different. That's the simple version. So I'll give you an example. If, cars have always been one of the largest companies in the world. Well, Tesla came out and they're like, hey, we're gonna do an electric car. Now, people knew about electric cars, but they were faster to market than everybody else. They seem to have a style that people like. They appear, because they've got a big monitor in the middle of the car that's 3 times as big as my car. It seems like it's more technological, although the computer does all the same exact things. It seems, just because of the size of it, it looks like it's more technologically advanced. So Tesla, whether you like the car or not, has carved out something special. Ferrari only makes 300,000 cars a year or whatever it is. It's like 1/50th of most car companies, but they're a lot more expensive and a lot faster, and they have so much more prestige than a Ford Tesla than a Chrysler. Chrysler versus a Ferrari, like there's no comparison. The status is a net. You're like, well, I like Ferrari. Okay, the truth is a Tesla is faster than the Ferrari, but Ferrari still got the status, okay? So you have to appear different. You have to offer different things. Maybe it's just a guarantee, but how you fight commoditization is you appear or be different. But for sure, loans have been more commoditized. Let's talk about marketing. And I want to give you a stat I got from ChatGPT. A lot of studies on this, so be careful on this. Like I can't tell you for sure, like this is 100% factual. But one article said that the average consumer 10 years ago received 500 marketing messages a day. 500. 10 years later, so today, the same article said the average consumer sees 6,000 ads a day. When we say ads, that's an email that wants to sell you something. It's a TV commercial, a pop-up on your phone, right? The ads on Amazon app, like those are all ads, okay? So we went from 500 to 6,000 in 10 years. My point in telling you that is it takes a lot more activity to get the same result. And this is why sometimes you have loan officers that were like, Todd, I still don't understand. I used to make $250,000 a year. I had 200 people in my database and I had 3 realtors who sent me business. Well, now you need 6 or 7 realtors to send you business to make $250,000. And maybe your database is the same size, but you got to market to it and call it 5 times more. That's just what's happened. So we either join that game
or we don't play the game at all. And it depends on your business and how much money you want to make and all that. But this podcast is about doing 10 plus loans a month. So you're going to need a lot more contacts and ads and advertising and all of that stuff than you ever thought you needed in order to. Now, the good news is a lot of that stuff can be automated. So much of that stuff can be automated. So you don't need, like, I think people look at it as sheer work. Say, Todd, if I'm already sending out 3,000 emails a month and you want me to send out 100,000, it's just a computer button. It's just programming. The content can be made by AI. So you don't even need to do the content anymore. So what I find on this subject is that people overanalyze it instead of accept it. They want to tell me I'm wrong, or they want to tell someone else I don't want to do it. All these feelings. The bottom line is there's 12 times more advertising being done than there was 10 years ago. So you gotta do 20 times more. And it sounds exhausting, but again, a lot of it's just automated. Okay, so it doesn't. I could take this podcast and turn it into 15 different like emails and ads to different people. So you don't need to overanalyze it that much. It just realize it's a numbers game. Okay. Now the third one is very sneaky, but it's also very true. So 66% of consumers is the recent stat on this will check you out before they contact you. In other words, another way of saying that is consumers have gotten more investigative because it's at their fingertips. I'm going to give you an example. My son goes to college in Orange County. His car broke down, $10,000 repair. So I said, son, obviously I'm several hours away. I'm like, did you get a quote? He says, yeah. I said, how did you find him? He says, he has a BMW. I says, I went on Yelp and I did a radius within 30 miles, the highest rating of people that work on BMWs. And I found this one company has 4.9 out of 5 stars. So I took it there. Sure enough, we use the company. The guy's great. He calls me and goes over my concern. Of course, $10,000 repair, I'm suspicious, right? I'm the parent you're going to call to stroke you a $10,000 check. So he alleviates all my concerns. I do my own research and find out, yeah, the part alone costs $7,500. So, okay, he's not ripping me off. The guy kept me updated. Like every 3 days, I would get a text that tells me where the car's at because they had it for 2 weeks. And they finished on time. And I paid him. That $10,000 check was because of Yelp. And my son trusted Yelp. So that's who we use. That's what I'm saying. I cannot tell you in the last few years how many people the first time I talked to them will say, Todd, I checked out your social. Todd, I was on one of your podcasts. I checked it out, or I looked at your ratings. I've gotten that one. I looked at your company ratings on Glassdoor. So people need to know you. People now have ways of knowing you before they contact you. And right now, over 60% of the time, that is happening. So that's very subtle. So giving an example, if you own a restaurant and you're open 6 months and your ratings on those different apps are low, you will probably go out of business. If they're high, you probably will continue to crush it. Because I'm going to refer people to you because I like you. People coming in from out of town look at the ratings like, oh, let's go over there to that pizza joint. They've got the best ratings and they're close. So people are checking you out. Now, lenders, they are also checking you out. You understand that if I'm right and I want you to employ you, I am. They're checking you out. They want to have a little bit of trust and knowing about you before they contact you. They know once they contact you, you're going to sell me. I want to be sold before I get to you. So a lot of times, like mortgage company, we make people do social and we do it for them. We make phone calls for them. We do all kinds of things for them. And they're like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, you don't have a choice. And they're like, Todd, I don't understand. I'll pull it up. I'll say, look at this loan officer. Look at the social. When we make calls for this loan officer, we'll set 30 appointments a month. Look at this other loan officer. Doesn't have a social following. We struggled to get him 12 appointments a month. Like we track all these things. It's on a graph and it's very telling. We have one client, loan officer. We've had to stop calling for her 4 times this year. Stop making her appointments because she gets so many. The first 2 weeks she was aboard, we got her 36 appointments in 2 weeks. Meetings with big accounts. And that was the first time we stopped it. She's like, I don't have time to do anything else. Okay. Now that loan officer is making a ton of money, but she also has a social following of 30,000 real estate people. And it's a long story how she got there, but she got there. And she's only been doing social for like 3 years. So those things become very important. I want you to remember one thing. Better known is better than better. Better known is better than better, because that's your distribution system, if you will. In other words, I might be a loan officer in your market, and I'm not as good as you. You've got 10 years more experience. Your process is better. Your rates are better. But if I'm better known, I'm going to beat you all day long. So better known is better than better. In other words, being a better known loan officer is going to make you a lot more money by 5-10 times than just being a really good loan officer. If you're a really good loan officer and nobody knows you, or your ratings are low just because of some jerks that misrated you, okay, you will not do as well. You won't beat me. I will beat you. And that's what we're talking about here. So to summarize this, the 3 things that have changed. Mortgages are becoming more commoditized. For sure that's happened. Just like the airline business, just like Amazon's created that for a lot of companies where they're just commodities now, okay? Number 2, your number of contacts need to go up 12x than they were 10 years ago. And number 3, the process, the sales process has changed where they need to get to know you first a little bit before they reach out to you. That's social media, that's an email list, that's a newsletter, that's podcasts, okay? So they need to know you. They want to know you a little bit before they contact you. No different than when my son called me about the BMW, the first thing I did is pull up the ratings on that car shop. And they were great. So I called the guy back. If the ratings were bad, I wouldn't have called the guy. I'd say, take that car to another place. So is any of this fair or not? You guys probably, if you're regular listeners, you probably know this a little bit about me. I don't really care about the emotions. If the trend is there and it's how people are acting, I'm going to go to that. As long as it's within my ethical boundaries, right? I'm going to go there. And I think a lot of people are still so emotional about these things. They're like, I don't want to do social. I just don't want to do it. And listen, I used to be that person. 3 years ago, I'd be like, I'm not doing it. But then I'm like, okay, this is a trend. This is how people are doing it. I've got to change. And that's really what all this is about. So I hope you change with the times. I hope that you trust me, because all I'm really giving you on these podcasts is my 33 years of experience of coaching thousands of people, running a mid-sized company, owning a marketing and advertising company, and dwindling it down into the key lessons, ways to help you make more money so that you can get to that 10 plus loans a month. So if you listen to this and you got someone who's being stubborn, maybe it's one of your loan officers, maybe it's a loan officer buddy, send them this podcast. Maybe it's a realtor. And you're like, hey, yeah, this realtor is behind the times and not progressing. Send it to them. It's a great way for you to give them information without being the bad guy and telling them that they're doing it wrong. Okay, that's a little tip. So I hope you have a blessed week. Thanks for listening. Please share it with one person. Have a beautiful week.